Hey, you haven't seen me for a while, have you? I'm still here, still kicking, still doing my thing. Took a break for a while, concentrating on other stuff. Did a bit of traveling. Went to Paris, would you believe? Whirlwind trips. Went to about 3 or 4 museums. Did all the sites. Haven't been there since 1985, so that was interesting. Hope you had a good Christmas and gearing up for a good new year. I have worked on guitars that I haven't shot videos of because they've been sort of repeats of stuff I've done before. And one thing I'm trying to do with this channel is not be repetitive, at least bring you different instruments as we go. So it's been a couple of months since you've seen me. This here is an Elevation classical guitar, slab cut, relatively rude, cheap instrument, but worthy of a setup. Found this in a charity shop, dyed ebony board, or ebonized, I should say. Had paint all over it, managed to scrub all that off. Cheap agathis, heavy lacquer on the back wood. I can't tell you what kind of wood it is. And then what looks to be linden or something like that on the top. But it plays, the parts are decent, the action's decent, the setup's okay. Some new strings on it, still stretching out. Don't yell at me. There you go. Had strings on it for 2 minutes. People are so impatient. Sounds fine. As far as a 50, 60, 70 pound guitar can go. Put some good strings on it, adjusted the action, cleaned up those fret ends, they're not sharp. Got brass frets on it too, which is indicative of fairly cheap guitars. Probably a 70s, 80s, maybe an early 90s model. Made in China. I don't know who Elevation is, I've seen them knocking around. Don't think I've done a video of them, so hopefully this is a first. No particular markers on this as to any sort of decent provenance. It looks very much like a low-grade factory guitar, but one that can be set up and used to learn on. So worth my time to get this in playing order, and someone can use this as a learning guitar. It's actually decent playing classical guitar. A couple of things that come to mind recently. I've seen a lot of people talking about putting steel strings on classical guitars. Don't do it. They're not built for that kind of pressure. And luckily this one had nylon strings on it, but a lot of times when I come to set up these old classical guitars, they're warped to buggery because somebody has put steel strings on them, and it just pulls the neck up, pulls the bridge off, does all kinds of things to it because they're just not built for that kind of string pressure. So beware of that. String stretching, I do quite a bit. I hold down the first fret, pull the string up a few times across each string, particularly the bottom 3 strings that take time to stretch, and then I tune it probably every hour for the first day, every couple of hours, retune the second day, and normally it's fine. Problem is, a lot of times I shoot my videos within that time frame and you're all yelling at me that the guitar's flat. Well, it's because the strings are still stretching out, as is the case here, which is why I'm not playing at this more than I have, sorry, which you'll yell at me again for. Because it will play out of tune. But stretch the strings out, let them sit on there for a while, let them acclimatize. Invest in decent strings. There are some cheap brands that are just fine. For these cheap guitars, I get these Tiger strings. They are cheap off-brand strings, but they're okay. I mean, when they stay in tune once they've stretched out, they're not really that much worse than the low-grade D'Addario strings. They seem pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if they're all made in the same place and got different labels on them anyway. But these, if you want a cheap set of strings, £5, £6, instead of paying 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pound, I wouldn't put these on a really nice classical guitar. I would get some Savarez or something. But for a guitar like this, they're just fine. if you buy a guitar for 30-40 quid in a charity shop, there's no point putting strings on it that cost half as much. So for a guitar like this, they work just fine. So this is an Elevation. It's got a long serial number on this, no model number, but it's your bog standard 4/4 classical guitar. Slab cut, not spruce or anything like that. Definitely not ebony. It looks like ebony, but it's definitely painted. Brass frets. Really, really cheap, but sets up and plays pretty nicely. And I can tell that already, even though the strings haven't fully stretched out. So there you go. Getting back in the swing of things now. Hopefully some videos coming in the next few days and weeks to get things going again. I know when I take these breaks, it puts a hit on my channel. I have to bring my numbers back up again. But you know, sometimes life demands that you take time out. I had a death in the family recently as well, so you know, sometimes you have to put things on pause. So I'm willing to do that where it's necessary, but hopefully, you know, we'll get back into the swing of things and have some interesting instruments and some other topics as well that I want to talk about that have been raised in the music community here on YouTube over the last few weeks. So I'll get to you on some of that as well, and I look forward to your feedback. All right, folks, see you on the next one.